Hey y'all, hey, it's Sunshine, holistic healer, spiritual straight shooter, with the very first episode of the Sun Shines Again vlog, and it's called, very appropriately, The Sun Shines Again. Your girl has been MIA. I've had so much going on in my life, so literally the sun shines again is real because I've had some things going on. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this first vlog. It's not really going to be vlog style, so to speak, not like all the future vlogs, but I really had to make this video because I know a lot of people are wondering where I am I alive, am I good, am I okay? So I really wanted to make this first video to give y'all the update. I have my notes like I typically do because it's been a lot. When I tell y'all it's been a lot, I mean it has really been a lot. And I know y'all see my little hairs on my face and everything. Listen, okay, when you hear what I've been going through, what I've been dealing with, all of this is gonna make some sense to you. So stay tuned.
Hey Sunny Lights, hope you're having a sunnylicious day. It's your favorite holistic healer and spiritual straight shooter, Sunshine. I'm here to help you get physically fit, emotionally stable, and spiritually grounded so you can kick anxiety, stress, and dis-ease to the curb. Be sure to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe so you don't miss a thing.
So for those of you that know me, that have been with me, rocking with me for a while, you know that last year in 2019, I was helping women conceive, helping them overcome infertility, miscarriage, just doing my thing in terms of women's reproductive health and womb health and all that good stuff, right? That was 2019. Well, there was a lot that took place last year, a whole lot. Y'all see that? A whole lot, okay? So if you missed any of that, I'm not going to go into what happened in 2019. That's all over on my Instagram page, Heal with Sunshine. Heal, H-E-A-L with Sunshine, over on Instagram if you want to read all of that. It was a lot, but it contributed to what I'm about to talk to you about right now, which is what went on with me in 2020. A lot of people were affected in 2020 in ways that have just been unthinkable, unimaginable, and I'm definitely one of those people that was affected, right? So we want to talk about what took place in 2020 for me. So in January, it was really the end of December, like the 28th, 29th, just before New Year's, I ended up moving back to DC with, hopefully by now, by the time this video comes out, my ex-husband's ex-wife. Right, we have our children, they share him as a father. So I mean, my mom, if you saw some of what took place last year, was diagnosed with cancer, so her house wasn't available to go to. It was just a lot going on in terms of housing and things like that. She wasn't living at home. My aunt was her caretaker, so she was living at her house and everything. So that's the space that was available for me to go to, and it worked out well because the kids were happy. They loved being together, so it was cool. It was very depressing at first for me, very stressful, because I went from having my own place, my own kitchen where I can cook every day, my own bed that I could sleep in, all of that, to me and my two children sharing a room. And when we first got there, sharing a twin-size bed. Okay, a twin-size bed. And it was really like, it took a minute for me to wrap my head around this transition, because I was practically homeless. Like, I had a roof over my head and somewhere to stay, but I didn't have a home of my own. I didn't have a car, no real income, because I wasn't able to really put anything out there, you know, in December, because of a lot of what was going on last year. It was just a lot, okay? So that was what happened. Then we eventually got a blow-up bed, so the kids were on that, and then I was able to have my own bed. But it took a while. However, even though that was my circumstance, I ended up leaving a lot of my things, shoes, clothes, bags, you know, a lot of the kids' things. Y'all know I'm a homeschooler, so a lot of their resources and materials and tools and things like that I use for school, like I took the necessities, and that was it. Like a few pairs of shoes, for all of us, couple clothes, things like that. When my ex-husband's ex-wife picked us up from the airport. She had to bring coats because we had moved to Florida in 2019. So we didn't have any coats. We were planning on living there, didn't have any coats, anything. So she had to bring all that stuff for me and the kids when she picked us up from the airport. So that's a little bit of background leading into 2020, right? So we moved back, we're living there. The very first traumatic thing that happened for me in 2020 was that I stopped breastfeeding on January 30th, 2020. And I remember it like it was yesterday because I was trying to prepare Majestic, my baby girl. She's 3 now. She was 3. She had just turned 3 in December. I was like, okay, it's time. So I was trying to prepare her. So we would look at the calendar every day and we would mark off the days leading up to January 30th. I gave her day, so she knew that on this day, no more milkies, right? Let me tell you how I struggled with that more than she did. I thought that she was going to have a fit, and I was the one that felt a little bit hurt, by that. Because we bonded for 3 years, just every day, like several times a day, like that was our bonding time. So it was a little bit traumatic for me. And she was good. The first day she didn't ask for them. The second day she did. I didn't give in. She didn't get them. Then the third day, since the second day when she asked, never again, right? So she was good. I struggled to get over it a little bit, right? So that was the first thing. Then the very next month, almost a month later, my father, well, let me say a few weeks prior to that, I got a phone call about my dad. He wasn't doing well. He was in hospice and just not doing so well. So I took a trip to New Jersey, drove for about 3 hours to go see him. And I was not prepared for what I experienced or what I came into. And remind you, this is prior to coronavirus, COVID, and all this stuff. It's happening in China. Like, we know what's happening there and everything, but at the time it had not hit the States yet, right? So I go, and because of the condition he was in, it was almost like he had pneumonia or something like that he had developed. I had to put on like this full suit when I went in there, a mask, I had to be completely covered, gloves, everything. You would think that it was because of COVID, but it wasn't, right? It was to protect him, so that I didn't give him any germs and vice versa, anything like that. So I sat in there with him. I was able to sit with him for a few hours to just talk, and I got to just sit with him and say my goodbyes, so to speak. And so that was an experience, right? He was not responsive. He wasn't talking. He was just there. He didn't even open his eyes. He tried when my sister finally came in and she's like, your baby girl's here. She's here. Open your eyes. We have different moms. And so, there's a lot of them. They have the same mom and everything. Then there was me, who my father had me with a different woman. Now I'm the baby. So she's like, your baby girl's here. And he tried to open his eyes and everything, but he never did. He didn't speak to me that whole visit or anything. So I was on edge after leaving that visit, knowing that eventually I'm gonna get a call saying that he passed, right? So every time my phone rang, every time I got a text message, it's just like my nerves were on edge, just waiting for that call because I knew it was gonna come any day. Well, the morning of February 28th, about 6:30 a.m., I got that phone call. February 28th is also awesome, my 5-year-old son's 5th birthday, right? So that's how I woke up on February, and I got the call. I was okay, and then I boo-hoo cried after I hung up with my sister, and it was just like I just felt heavy. I don't know how to describe the feeling, but it was intense. It was a lot. Okay, so my dad passes. Then a couple days before that, I get a phone call from my mom that a guy who, he wasn't really my stepdad, but I kind of consider him something like a stepdad. They were together when I was growing up, and a lot of my childhood memories have him in it. He taught me a lot. We used to go on a lot of road trips with him and everything. He was at my wedding. He passed like a couple days before my dad. So it's almost like I lost 2 fathers in 1 week, like within a couple days apart. So that was that. And then in March, my mom she had another visit to her oncologist to get another scan. I think at this point they were doing them every month at that time. And so they did a scan, and everything had been looking good prior to that. So we were expecting for the cancer to have been disappearing and the tumors to be going away and everything. But in March, it seemed like they were coming back. And we had planned to go to Florida in April because my mom had a house in Florida, which is why I moved to Florida last year. She was planning on retiring last year to Florida. So we were all going to be in Florida, living together and everything. But because her cancer started coming back, and then on top of that, there were all the talks about COVID-19 and coronavirus. And, you know, when it first came out in the US, when people first started talking about it, and everybody was like, what in the world, scared, and they're talking about this lockdown and quarantine. They hadn't done any of that yet, but just the things they were saying about it, a lot of people were really anxious about it. My mom being having a suppressed immune system because of her lung cancer was like, I'm not going anywhere. They hadn't even banned travel or any of that, but she was just too concerned about her health to go. So she canceled April, but I continued on with our plans to go to Florida in April, right? So I did that. And when I got to Florida, Spirit spoke to me, God, the divine, the creator, however you refer to that presence in your life. But I was told to sit my ass down pretty much for 30 days. And I remember making a post on Instagram about the fact that I was going to be taking a 30-day break, the longest I had ever taken from social media. It was social media, basically TV, which I don't really watch anyway. Alcohol, certain foods, like it was just like a whole program that I had downloaded from Spirit of what I was supposed to be doing to kind of really be serious about my spirituality, really be serious about my health, really be serious about self-care, self-love, and all that good stuff. And I allow people around me to talk me out of it. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not putting it on anybody. It definitely was on me because I disobeyed what I know God specifically told me to do, and I paid for it, y'all, which we always do. We always do when we disobey Spirit, and what we know that God is telling us to do when we disobey, there's going to be a price to pay, right? So that's what happened in April. Literally, y'all, as soon as May started, it was like May 3rd, God showed me who my actual husband is, who the man who he has set aside for me as my husband, me to be his helpmeet. And we met May 3rd. May 4th, I was on the phone with him as he left. He went out of town, and we were talking on the phone, and I started feeling really strange. And I felt this feeling prior in November of 2019. And I was just like, what in the world? And it really scared me this time because I felt like I was gonna pass out, like faint, like I'm having a stroke, or I don't know, like my whole left side goes numb and it's tingly, and I'm feeling these sensations in my hand, but only on the left side. And you know what they say, and I'm feeling something in my jaw, and like things are getting tight, and I'm like, okay, heart attack, stroke, just right, I don't know what's happening to me. So it causes me to panic, and I go to the bathroom, and TMI, but I went and sat my ass on the toilet because I had that nervous feeling, you know, my stomach's churning, and like I gotta go type of thing. And when I sat down, it was just like, ooh, spinning. So I called my husband's ex-wife, who was standing in the kitchen area. I opened the door and I was like, come here, it's happening again, because I had been feeling this from November all the way up until that point when it got really bad. But I didn't know what it was. I thought I was anemic and all kind of stuff. I'm like taking herbs and, you know, taking more iron, getting minerals in, thinking that it was either low blood sugar or low iron or whatever. So she comes in the bathroom, and I put my arms around her waist, and I'm like, we need to call 911. I can't get my heart to stop beating. And it was beating fast and hard. I never felt anything like it before. And it was just pounding, 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 pounding. So we called 911. They came and got me. She was trying to get our daughter to get my pants and all kind. And I'm like, no, you cannot leave me. Like, I felt like I was drifting away. It was the craziest feeling I've ever felt in my life. 911 came and got me. My heart was racing really fast. And they took me into the hospital, and they're asking me things like, well, are you under a lot of stress? Do you have a lot going on? I'm like, yeah, you know, but the main thing initially after is like, okay, we ruled out COVID. And then they're like, okay, a lot of times people with anxiety. I'm like, in my mind, anxiety is a mental thing. You know, that's how it's presented to us a lot of times, that it's mental. When you're going through stuff, you get that nervous, and like everybody feels that. I get that a lot. When I go live, I feel that. When I used to dance recitals, I would feel that. Public speaking, I feel that. Like, we all feel nervous sometimes, right? That's anxiety. That's what it was to me. So I'm like, no way what I'm feeling, my arm going numb, is anxiety. How can that be? So I go into the ER and they test me. They're like, your heart's good. They did a CAT scan on my head. Your brain's good. There's nothing. Like, you're normal. You're completely normal. I'm like, no, something's not right. Literally exactly a week later, same thing happens again. This time it was worse. And I get to sweating. My hands get clammy. My feet start sweating. Then I'm freezing cold. My hands are like white, like pale, which is why I thought it could have been anemia. And I'm just like, what in the world? Call 911 again. I go. I get a different doctor this time. This time, this doctor is like, it's anxiety. He gave me something called benzodiazepines. It worked right away, but he gave me half, and as I take it, it almost works immediately. And I'm like, I feel like I'm drifting away, and I'm asking him all these questions. He practically laughed at me and was like, you need to just relax. I'm like, if I could just relax, I would just relax, you know. But the pill worked. It worked fast. And before I knew it, I was out. I was asleep. He prescribed me 9 of those, right? They're highly addictive, so they don't really prescribe them in the ER, but he felt the need to give them to me. So I had them to take. So whenever I felt that feeling again, I would pop one and it would like go away, right? But I don't do meds. I know I don't want to be on that. But at this point, I'm scared. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know what's happening. Am I dying? That's what it feels like, having a heart attack, having a stroke. Like, I don't know. So I had them, and I would use them for emergencies only, right? So because I had those 2 experiences, after that second really bad panic attack, it developed into agoraphobia. And I didn't know what it was at the time until I started doing a lot of research. And a lot of people who suffer from anxiety disorder, there's a difference between anxiety and anxiety disorder. And I'm going to be talking a lot about that on this channel, because a lot of people are experiencing this and have no idea what's going on with them. And after I came out of that, I said, you know, when I get better, when I come out of this situation, I'm gonna help people, because like, it's the craziest feeling. You don't know what's going on with you, what's happening, and there's not a lot of good research out there about the condition and how to recover from it. So that's one of my new things that I am dedicated to, I'm passionate about, and I will be doing that. But while I had agoraphobia, I was afraid to get out of the bed. Some people get it bad. They're just afraid to leave their house. Some people are afraid to leave their room. Some people are afraid to leave like their neighborhood or their immediate surroundings. I was afraid to get out of the bed, because whenever I would get out of the bed, my heart would race. And at this point, they're telling me it's anxiety. I'm not buying it, because I'm like, anxiety doesn't do this. It doesn't create these physical sensations and physical symptoms. So no, it's not. So I'm just in bed, because I'm afraid to feel those things in my body that I was feeling whenever I would do small things. I was afraid to go to the bathroom. And not only that, it was a trigger for me, because I had my first panic attack pretty much sitting on the toilet. So now I'm afraid to sit on the toilet, to pee, to do anything, right? It was just anything that I was doing at the time that I had a panic attack. It's like I'm afraid to do now, because it's a trigger. It's, y'all, okay? Just, I'm gonna be making a lot of videos about that, because people really need to be educated properly about anxiety disorder. But I lost almost 30 pounds. in 2 months. I was severely agoraphobic for about 2 months, like afraid to get out the bed, was not walking to the kitchen, really needed help with everything. I lost almost 30 pounds, and yeah, I did a lot of it. That 30 days that God told me to take in April, I was forced to do it now in May and June. Then in July, I started getting phone calls about my mom. Her health was getting worse, and they eventually put her in hospice because the oncologist was like, there's nothing else. Like, we're giving you all that we know to give you, all that we know to do for you. We're doing that. It's not working, so hospice. So now it's like, oh shit, I have to get out the bed. I have to walk out this house. I have to get up. I have to go see my mom. Like, it was crazy. She's not traveling. I'm not traveling. Like, I'm not even getting out the bed. We're both pretty much at this point bedridden. So I eventually just had to go. So I went to DC from Florida, and it was rough. When I saw my mom, she was unresponsive. She pretty much was in the same state that my dad was in when I went and visited him. And so it wasn't so shocking. It was shocking to see my mom that way, but I had already seen a parent like that. So I kind of was prepared in a sense, if that makes sense, right? So yeah, I went to see her every day. We left on a Thursday. We got there that Thursday night. I went to see her Thursday night. I went to see her Friday. I spent all day Saturday with her, just me and her. I was talking to her, just thanking her for being such an awesome mom and everything. I had written a book. I didn't tell y'all about that, but I had to put that on hold. It was scheduled to be released in April. I wrote the book in about 3 days. It was done. I had done the designing. That took about a month. So it was ready to be released, and then all of this started happening. So I had a print copy of proof. So I showed her that. She was the first person I dedicated it to, so I read that to her and everything, and she kind of moved around a little bit, but she wasn't speaking or talking or anything like that. So that was good. It was a good visit, and I really enjoyed that time, that last few moments that I was able to spend with her. Well, we were planning on going back to Florida that Sunday, right? So I came by the hospice again early that morning, and I sat with her for a few minutes, and then I told her bye. But when I was saying bye to her, it was different from all the other times. I normally would be like, all right, see you tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. And this time I was like, all right, I'll see you. And I gave her a kiss on the forehead. And it was just the way I said it was different. And the night before was July 4th, and all the fireworks, you could hear all the fireworks outside and everything. And I just knew, I felt in my spirit on the 4th, that Saturday, that she would be passing really soon. I thought probably that night, but it ended up actually happening on Sunday. So we were supposed to leave, and we didn't because we went to hospice, and and we didn't have enough time to like get rest and things like that before we got back on the road. So we decided to get another night at the hotel. And as we were on our way to get food, I started getting all these texts, and I started getting these phone calls, and I'm like, I already knew in my spirit what that was, because I already felt in my spirit that that's what was going to happen. And so I returned the phone calls, and it was like, Mom just passed. Come on. So instead of going to get something to eat, we went straight back to the hospice, and yeah, that was a lot. And I'll probably make a video about that someday, about that experience, but it was a lot. So anyway, because we were still there, now I'm able to be there for the funeral. I didn't go back to Florida and have to come right back, and it just, everything just worked out so perfectly and so beautifully. And we buried her that Thursday, July 9th, and Thursday, July 9th is when she was buried. And since then, I went back, because I was staying in her house in Florida, and just went to take care of some business and everything like that. And look at me now, y'all. Like, literally about 3 months ago. No. So back to this hair here and this hair here. Don't judge me, okay? I have reason to be looking a mess. Like, Okay, I just started getting my appetite back. Sorry, I wasn't, that 2 months that I was on bed rest, or not bed rest, but bedridden with agoraphobia, wasn't eating properly, or I didn't have an appetite. Like every couple days I'm having panic attacks and I don't know what's going on with me. And I finally accepted it is anxiety disorder. That is what it is. And I've been recovering ever since and getting my life back on track, and the sun is shining again, y'all. And there's so much more, but I don't want this to be too long. I just wanted to update my peeps, my ride or dies, my day ones, and all you new folks. Hey, welcome. There's a lot more, but again, it's just too much. It's a lot, right? So I'm pretty sure a lot more of this story and a lot of things that I've been dealing with are going to come out in future videos and everything. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get all the notifications, because you know YouTube is really funky with that. If you don't hit the bell, they won't tell you about everything that I put out. And so sometimes you'll get something, sometimes you won't. So make sure you hit the bell so you get them all. And if you don't want to watch them, just don't watch them, you know, but at least you have the option. So that's where sunshine has been. The sun is shining again. I'm excited about it. Again, this channel, we're going to be talking about mental health, self-love. We're going to be talking about womb health, because I'm still passionate, very much so passionate about women's health and our reproductive systems and all that. Nutrition, herbs, crystals, spirituality, all that good stuff. Okay, so thanks for watching. If you have any questions, any comments, if you want me to talk about certain things in any of those topics or categories, let me know in the comments below, and I will be happy to make videos regarding that. If you know anybody suffering from anxiety disorder, or even just anxiety, depression, any type of mental health issues, please share this channel with them. They don't know me, so they probably don't care about this video, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll be like, oh my God, that's what I felt, that's what I'm dealing with, and they'll maybe get some insight into what is going on with them. And until next time, I will talk to y'all soon.